Hey everyone, welcome to the Nostalgia Effect, the podcast where we examine movies from our... Okay, hold on, stop, wait.
Pause.
I gotta
We're
redo that
pausing.
intro.
She can't speak the words.
Hold for the woman.
April Fools, I didn't do the intro right!
Hey!
That's the worst April Fool's joke in the history of April Fool's jokes.
Okay, for real though. Welcome to the Nostalgia Effect, the podcast where we examine movies from our childhood through the lens of adulthood. I'm Amy, we got Johnny.
Hey.
And
And
we got
I'm
Joe.
also Amy. April Fools!
Ooh!
I hate this holiday.
And that's the rest of the April Fool's jokes, no more.
That's it.
Today we have a very special episode because it is a request from Twitter from my friends Robert and Vanessa of Late to the Party. They have a YouTube channel and you can find them on Twitter at Late to the Party. They requested Willow, so we'll be talking about that later today.
And those guys are always late to the party, though, aren't they? Like, they're not respectful of anybody else's time.
Nope.
God, I hate you so much.
That's actually their shtick.
What? That they're late to the party?
I mean, they kind of make that joke. They have an entire series about, like, better late than never.
I see. Well, in the case of Joe's jokes, they're just, it's never. It's never.
Okay, well, before we get into Willow, Joe, you had something for talking trailers?
Yeah, a little bit.
That kind of bleeds into mine.
It does.
Is this another soapbox thing? So I think we're just going to name this segment Joe's
Soapbox.
Joe's Soapbox.
Joe complains.
Or Joke Box?
No, Joe, stop. Just go on.
All right. Wait, stop. Go on. I'm getting mixed signals here.
Just stop with the jokes. Go on with your talking
Okay.
trailers.
So I was reading this morning that Kevin Feige confirmed that Endgame is inspired by the very last episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, an episode called All Good Things.
But does that spoil anything?
Yeah, the whole movie spoiled. Obviously, all good things. Boom.
Boom.
Actually, I have no idea. So, okay, so
Yeah, I have no idea about this.
I don't think
Next
it
Gen
should
episode.
spoil anything based on I think what we can all infer from the what happened in the previous film. But in All Good Things, you ready for this? You ready for?
I'm holding on.
Okay, she is actually.
she's on
holding
the edge of her seat.
way on the edge there. Actually,
Yeah.
maybe sit back
I'm
a little bit. It's dangerous.
We're already on a roller coaster.
And she never wears a seatbelt on a roller coaster. It's
Yeah,
reckless.
especially on those loop-de-loops.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like the thrill of being a zero-G'd to my seat.
Yep. Anyway, that's nature's seatbelt. But anyway, in All Good Things, what happens is Captain Picard becomes unstuck in time, kind of Slaughterhouse-5 style, and he keeps just sort of coming to his senses in the past, the present, and the future. And in the future, it's long since he stopped serving on the Enterprise. In the past, it's during their very first mission, and there's this like rift in time that is existing in all three timelines at the same time. And so then, like the Enterprise from the past, present, and the future, everybody have to converge on this spot to hopefully try and fix the problem. And it's a really good episode. Ron Moore and Brandon Braga, who wrote it, love it. They like it better than the first Star Trek film they wrote, which was the main feature film after Next Generation. And I thought it was kind of interesting that that's where Infinity War is going.
So you just spoiled it for everybody.
So,
Thank you.
yeah, now you're getting me speculating on some things that I
Well,
don't
now
talk
you
about
just
because I
ruined
know you don't
everything.
like speculation.
Listen, the first thing I thought after seeing Infinity War, other than like, wow, that was so good, I can't believe they managed it, was
Star Trek Last Generation. No?
no.
Oh.
I thought Doctor Who, and I thought, come on, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
Yeah. I mean, that's like the only way it
Nerds. I
can
don't know
go,
what that is.
especially with like what Doctor Strange.
And the Time Stone.
Yeah.
And the fact that in Infinity War, the Avengers do get killed. He kills them.
Like in the comic.
No. I mean, like in the movie, when Thanos is
Oh.
going after the Mind Stone, and Captain America like stops him and he just punches him to the ground. I'm pretty sure he kills Cap with that one punch. And Banner gets sent, in the Hulk Buster armor, he gets sent into that rock and like phased into it. There's no way he survives that. And like Thanos is working through all of them, pretty sure killing them. And then when
he
then
snaps?
Scarlet Witch like manages to kill Vision, but then he just turns back time, and everybody comes back.
Except for the ones that get dusted.
Yeah, well, everybody that comes back, then he
And
takes
then
the
he-
Mind
then-
Stone,
then he does
then
it.
he snaps.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm pretty sure most of those characters
Well, no,
who
it's
went
like-
up against him died.
Yeah,
in
well,
that
like,
scene.
he does, like, get almost killed before he snaps because Thor takes the axe into his chest.
Yeah.
But that's
I-
after.
But that's after he turns back time to get the
Yeah,
stone.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's got all the stones.
Which I just watched that this weekend and I
Keith,
completely forgot.
Mick, Johnny Watts,
Joe, stop.
Charlie Watts, not Johnny Watts. Anyway, but I just thought it was cool, and it's neat that one of my very favorite things of all time that most people always kind of
full circle.
roll their eyes at happens to be inspiring the thing that I think a lot of people are pretty excited about.
Yeah, but you just ruined it for everybody now.
That's true.
Yes, all the 9 people that listen to this
Sorry,
episode.
listener.
Sorry.
But
I look at our analytics.
yeah, but but it kind of feeds into something that Amy
Yes,
wanted to give a
this
try.
is where it comes full circle.
Yeah, is we thought we might talk about TV shows that were sort of important to our upbringing.
What are you giving me that look for?
How does that tie into what you were talking
Well,
about?
because Star Trek is
was
a
a-
very important
yeah.
show to my childhood.
I was still thinking about Infinity War, and I was like, what? I was trying to make
It
a
came in
connection
too
there.
full of a circle for you.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute.
It's like a circle,
yes.
but a freaky circle.
But like a freaky circle.
Yeah.
I got
Anyway,
Now we did full circle with the Avengers.
yes. Anyway, so Amy,
Yeah.
I was going to start off
Where'd you want
With
kind of
my-
introducing the concept
yeah.
in your shows.
So I heard this on a couple podcasts that I listened to, just for reference. If anybody out there listens to these podcasts, it was on Ear Biscuits, which is a Rhett and Link podcast, and Jenna and Julian podcast also did this. But I'm gonna be I want to do kind of a series over a couple episodes of our 3 most influential TV shows from our childhood. Most of mine are from my childhood, but yeah. So I wanted to talk a little bit about those, and I know you guys will probably guess at least 2 of them. If you
Wishbone.
want to take a stab at that.
Wishbone.
Oh my god, I forgot about Wishbone.
Not Wishbone.
That's a really good guess if I had thought about it.
What the hell is Wishbone?
It's a PBS show.
It's a little cute little Jack Russell Terrier.
Yeah,
who,
oh my god. And he had a
lived
little
through-
bone on the side of him, I think. I can't remember.
Oh yeah, like one of his
But-
spots on
Yeah.
it.
Interesting.
And he
and-
had like a Detective Sherlock hat.
Well, his deal was like each episode was him living through like some classic book. That's actually most of Sarah's literary knowledge comes from Wishbone
It was
episodes.
Doctor Who for me with a dog before I knew what Doctor Who was.
Doctor Who?
He's no K9.
No,
Whatever.
he's not.
Oh.
That's right. I know.
Well, I mean, that makes sense because I did watch a lot of PBS. I only watched PBS growing up pretty much.
Is that why you're such a nerd?
Yes.
Okay.
She's even wearing glasses right now. But then so are we.
Idiot.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. They can't see me. They don't know what I look like.
But anyways, do you
Back
guys
to
want
your.
to...
We already know. We already know. I
feel
mean,
like,
it's Boy Meets World for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely it is.
I mean, I feel like, Joe, we talked about it this
I Love Lucy.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Boy Meets World again.
No.
No, damn it.
Girl Meets World.
Yeah, Girl Meets World.
No.
Because you're a child at heart.
The show did not influence me in any way.
Let's see, Harry Potter's not a TV series.
Nope.
Jumanji, the TV show. You remember that one?
Oh yeah, the cartoon.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
Jumanji
there was a
the
cartoon,
cartoon.
show.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and the kids would like go into the game and meet up with Alan, and they'd have adventures inside the game.
So kind of like what the new Jumanji does. But it's a video game instead of a board game.
Like, yeah,
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then they stay kids and they don't turn into characters.
right. They just like go and visit,
Yeah.
and then they leave again. Yeah.
Do they? I don't really remember much of the show. I just remember that it was set in that world, in the jungle,
Mm-hmm.
like in the.
Yeah,
Interesting.
They also had an
that's-
Ace Ventura show.
They did. It's true.
I don't.
There was like a Christmas special and everything.
Yeah, it was weird. Weird times. The
Anyway.
90s, weird times.
The last. So you got I Love Lucy and Boy Meets World, right?
Johnny got them. I feel like.
I feel like you I was like waiting for you to go I Love Lucy.
Yeah. Well, I do. I do love Lucy.
Well,
I
who
don't love
doesn't?
Lucy.
Besides Johnny, he doesn't count.
Yeah.
I'm not a person. I don't have a face.
But yeah, I Love Lucy.
Yeah.
That was a big
It's a
one.
huge one. I'm ashamed I didn't think of that
Like,
before.
I've been watching that show for over 25 years.
Straight. Like,
Yeah,
without a
like
break.
literally that's the only thing I watch.
Yeah.
You're very old.
Oh, Friends?
Yes!
Boom!
Friends.
Ah, yes, I forget.
And it's even more relevant and influencing to me now because every time I watch it, which is
Because
a
now
lot,
she has friends.
the theme song is very apropos to my life, and I'm like, God, it hurts. I feel it, and I'm like their age now, so it's like Friends is really like, yeah, that's how I feel. But when I was younger, like 15, 16, watching this, I was like, that's how I want to be. I want to.
You wanted to go to New York,
No, I never wanted to go to New York.
live
not?
in a
New York's
coffee
cool.
shop. They live in a coffee shop, right?
They live yeah, kind of, basically.
And one of them's like homeless.
Phoebe
I saw the first 3 episodes.
Phoebe was homeless for she didn't.
I was joking. Is one of them really homeless?
Yeah, Phoebe grew up homeless after her mom killed herself. Well, she lived with her grandma, but
And
she,
this
Comedy.
is a sitcom.
there are jokes
Comedy
about Phoebe
gold.
living on the streets, and
Wow.
she
And prostituting
when she was
herself.
a teen, she
It's
like
hilarious.
robbed Ross, David Schwimmer's character.
I would rob him too.
She stole his backpack.
He's so weak.
It's pathetic.
Got
Pathetic.
victim written all over him.
Like that meme. It's just...
All right, Amy. Anyway, tell us about
Yeah, sorry,
the shows
Amy.
that you love.
We're stop shitting on your childhood influences.
Well, and then Boy Meets World, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, like, I watched that show. I still watch that show. But it's, like, all of the values and, like ideas of romance that because, like, Corey and Topanga, they were, like, the couple goals, as the kids say now, as the youth
Squad
say.
goals. They were squad goals.
Well, I mean, Corey and Sean are, like, squad goals. Corey, Sean, and Topanga, kind of, I guess.
Threesome.
But Corey
They're Disney characters, okay?
Well, technically, no, it's not. It was
Aren't they
only.
Disney?
It is an ABC show. It was
Which is owned by
syndicated for
Disney.
Disney Channel.
But ABC owns Disney Channel.
Oh, but you're saying it was like a syndicated show. But,
was-
I mean, I don't...
It did reruns on Disney Channel and ABC Family later on, but it
Interesting.
aired on ABC. But yeah, I wanted a relationship like Corey and Topanga's growing up, and I never had that, and it made me really sad.
Boo-hoo.
But my best friend, I always call my best friend the Sean
Ryder
to my
Stone?
Corey.
Oh, no? Okay.
Because I always identified with Corey being this, like, weird loser, very, like, he's like a hypochondriac, and they really play that up in, like, the last couple seasons, like the college seasons. But anyways, I really love Boy Meets World. I just love everything about it. It's my feel-good show.
Yeah, everyone needs a feel-good show.
Yeah.
Well, I Love Lucy, Boy Meets World, and Friends are all, like, my feel-good show. If I don't know what to watch, I'll just watch one of those. If I'm not feeling too great, I'll just watch one of those. Like, sick or, like, depressed, I'm gonna put on one of those shows because they always make me feel better.
If you watch all 3 of those shows like at the same time, do you like overdose?
No, I
You
just
become
get,
so happy.
I get so euphoric. That sounds really weird.
It does.
But
But those are them. So
those are them.
if everybody needed to know anything about Amy, now they know.
They know my
Everything.
3 favorite shows.
Now they know
Or
why
3
she is the way she is.
3 of my favorite shows.
And if they've been listening to the rest of the show, they know she likes cats and popcorn
And French fries.
French fries.
And
and
French fries, and that's it.
That's it. That's
I'm a snack queen.
a snack.
Literally, that's like my catchphrase. Snacks!
Snacks.
I have snacks hidden in all of my desk drawers.
And all of her pants.
Ew.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Pocket stuff full of snacks.
Snacks.
These pants don't have pockets.
These
And-
pants
wait,
were
hold
made
on.
for snacking, alright?
I can't say that because then Joe's gonna go on a tangent about pockets and girls' clothes.
That's true, I will.
So let's just skip that tangent and go
Lack of
straight,
pockets is sexism.
go straight to Willow.
All right, Willow.
Willow.
So this was our very
Willow.
first suggested.
Well, actually, technically, it was not.
Oh, it wasn't.
Heavyweights. Paige suggested heavyweights.
Oh, that's true.
But this is our first, like, non-work
Yeah.
friend suggestion.
It's just a suggestion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like suggested
Which
from.
and it was a
Yeah.
good one. It's a really
Yeah.
good one. I had not considered it. I think.
I've never seen this movie before.
I've never seen this movie, and I kind of like only recently became aware.
Yeah,
of
Really?
me too. Same.
Yeah, it
Wow.
wasn't a movie that like I don't remember it at. I never saw it at one, but I don't remember it being a thing. Like it's in recent years that somebody was like
Yeah.
people had mentioned Willow as
Yeah.
a movie, and I was
think-
like, oh, that's Warwick Davis, right? Okay.
I think the first
I had
time
no idea what the hell it is.
I think the
about
first
them.
time I actually heard about this was from Robert and Vanessa on like their YouTube channel or something. They
Really?
had talked about it because it's one of their favorite shows.
Yeah.
I know. I'm pretty sure Robert runs their Twitter and he suggested it on there, but I know it's like one of their mutually like favorite movies.
It's so funny. And now it's funny also because this film, unless I've got my math wrong, is... Oh, wait, no. I have got my math wrong. It's 2 years older than you. So when you guys came out,
it's actually almost exactly 2 years older than me because it came out on, what day was that? May 20th, 1988.
See, it's so funny because I remember this movie I never owned it. I don't think I knew anybody who owned it, but it was always on television. Just constantly. And I saw it sort of growing up my entire life. And
kind of just like catching it on TV.
Yeah, catching it on TV. And to be honest, I'm not sure that I ever sat and watched it. Like it was, for whatever reason, it wasn't unlike Goonies or Jaws or like any of those.
Any Dan Aykroyd movie.
Or any
you
Dan
hadn't
Aykroyd
seen
movie.
this either.
I had seen it, but I don't recall ever sitting down and watching it all in one go.
Like intentionally being like,
Yeah.
I'm going to watch Willow.
Okay.
Or like maybe I did, but my mom was more watching it than I was.
Huh.
You know, like because and so I don't. I'm sure I saw it. I just don't recall. I don't remember connecting with it, and I think that's why I don't recall actually sitting down and watching it. You know?
Yeah. Well, I think I know zero about this except for the fact that Warwick Davis is in it.
Yeah.
And I haven't even seen a trailer. I've only seen like
Directed
the
by
poster.
Ron Howard, also.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was pulling the just preliminary information, like a starring director synopsis, I saw that it was also written by George Lucas. Or he did the story. At least that's what IMDb says.
Yeah. And it's all.
Is that why people like? Because this, I mean, I don't know if it was big, but it's like people remember it. Like it's one of those movies that people like. Like it's got like maybe a
lot of
following.
fondness. There's a lot of fondness for this film.
Is it because why? I mean, is it because like it was a George Lucas project, or is it because
I think because it's George Lucas. I think because it was Ron Howard, especially fairly early in his directing career. I think that it's funny because this movie and Tron kind of are linked in that they are both movies that I remember people more than anything else talking about the special effects in it.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because this was 1988.
I mean,
so
it's the 80s.
back in those days, sometimes a movie with great special effects that was kind of enough for
it just to be.
I mean,
that's what happened to Avatar, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because the story is not really special, but the execution of that film is pretty staggering.
Yeah.
But
This was his second directing. Well, Ron Howard did Night Shift, then Splash, Cocoon, Gung Ho, and then Willard.
Yep.
Willow.
Willard?
Willow.
Which is funny. Have you guys seen like Cocoon or Splash? Because those were movies that I also grew up watching.
I know Splash is about a mermaid with Tom Hanks is in it.
And Daryl Hannah and John Candy and Eugene Levy.
I remember seeing Splash on TV.
Yeah.
But I remember bits and pieces of it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Cocoon either. I just know it's about old people and aliens.
Yep. That's basically it.
That's all you need to know, I guess.
Yeah.
I've never seen Cocoon.
Anyway, so you'd never seen it.
No.
But you'd heard of it.
Well, just recently though.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Right.
not, like the Goonies I had always heard of.
Yeah.
Shit like that. Like.
Yeah.
But this just recently came into
Do you remember from who? Because it's funny that Amy would also say that she hasn't seen it, but it was brought up by like YouTube people.
No,
randomly.
I just in general. I think it's just because like Warwick Davis, his work in
Harry Potter,
and
Star Wars,
so like
everything else.
And people kind of know him, and I know this was like a movie where he was like starring in, right? Like he was like the hero of this movie, and so I think that's kind of just what brought my attention to it. That this movie.
I think I know why. It's because it just recently had its 30th anniversary, so I think that's why it's been coming back more into the quote zeitgeist.
That makes sense. It's funny. I remember when
I did have like a 30th anniversary
Blu-ray or something.
Blu-ray release. Yeah.
Well, what's funny is I remember when Val Kilmer was cast as Batman for Batman Forever. That at that point I don't think I was aware of who Val Kilmer was, and my mom was like, "Oh yeah, you know who he is," and I was like, "No, I don't." And she's like, "Yeah, he was in Willow," and I was like, "The short guy."
He's Batman.
He's Batman. And then she was like,
That
no,
would've
he
been
was
great.
like
Warwick Davis as Batman.
I would watch that.
I'm Batman.
It would be like Spider-Ham, but
No, he doesn't do like that voice. He does like his leprechaun voice.
The leprechaun.
But yeah, so my mom's like, no, the other guy in Willow. And I was like, what other guy in Willow? And for the longest time, I was like, I have no idea what Val Kilmer looks like.
Yeah, I had no idea Val Kilmer was in this movie, honestly.
I think this was fairly early in his career, too. Like, in terms of, like, big films.
Yeah. But, like, I do have one other thought going into this, is that from the poster, like...
I haven't even seen the poster. Like, I was going as blind.
Yeah, from, like, the one poster that I've seen, or, like, I think it may have been,
doesn't help
like,
that you don't have working eyes.
The 30th anniversary cover artwork, because I think, maybe I didn't see it on Late to the Party's, like, YouTube. I saw it on their Instagram when the 30th anniversary came out, like, Blu-ray. It looks like it's kind of got a Princess Bride-y feel.
Yeah. You know what else it has, actually?
Which I'm very into, because we all know I love Princess Bride.
You do. You love it. The key art actually reminds me a lot of Lady Hawk, also. Which is a Matthew Broderick, Michelle Pfeiffer, Rutger Hauer film directed by Richard Donner.
Damn it!
Yeah. Oh, wow, yeah.
Doesn't it, though?
It always comes back.
It may even be the same artist. I don't know. It's like it's not Drew Struzan, so maybe it's like the other guy that people would get.
The other guy, other fantasy guy.
Yeah, but Lady Hawk is also like a fantasy
kind of the same
type
vein
movie.
As
a little bit.
Okay.
It's got some of that to it. So anyway, shall we watch it?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Watch this movie.
And now, our feature presentation.
All right. So we watched Willow. Initial thoughts.
This movie's weird. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but it's fucking weird.
Do you know, I think I can put my finger on it.
What?
Do I have the movie's consent to put my finger on it?
Oh, consent is important.
Why are you looking at me? Because I'm the only
you're
female
the movie.
Here. Because your friend suggested it. Okay, I think I know what the deal is with this movie. Because I remember watching it, like the opening scene. It's this brutal scene, right?
It's very dark.
It's super dark. But
That's
then
what the killing
that like this woman has just given birth, and they're like, okay, this is the baby. We're gonna kill her. And then the tone starts out really dark and really brutal, and they kill the mother.
Yeah, they do.
And then, like, the midwife gets torn apart by dogs.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it gets kind of jokey.
Yeah, it gets
really
silly.
And it's tonally so strange.
Yeah.
And it's such a hard shift.
Yeah.
I don't know, do you think that's Ron Howard's directing or the way it was written?
It's George Lucas.
It's got George Lucas stink all over it.
It does. No, and I'm not kidding.
I mean, that's what I was like I was like, why does this not make sense to me at all? And I was like, oh wait, George Lucas, he did the story.
Yeah. But he did the story, but I have a feeling he also probably did some like rewrites or something because
it's George Lucas. Of course he did the rewrites.
Exactly, because he's got this knack for like and I even have like notes here. I think I said something like so this is like there's no sense of world building. And because it feels it's just like
people saying names.
Exactly.
Of things.
It's just weird,
names
made up sounding, stupid sounding bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And which is the thing that I hate most about fantasy is just the made up, stupid sounding bullshit. Yeah. And I said this is my paragraph. I said, I feel like this is the kind of fantasy that combines a lot of fantasy elements to make a mediocre whole. There's a lot of funny names for things for no reason, no sense of world building. It has a lot of characteristic George Lucas shortcomings, like a bunch of two-dimensional characters and stupid jokes, like everything with the brownies. Yeah. I mean, they were just obnoxious and served no story purpose. No. And then, like, when we very first meet Willow, our hero, and he sees this baby, this Dakini baby, whatever. Yeah. You know, he's like, there's a baby. Fuck it, I'm gonna leave it. And he just like walks away. And it's like, dude, you're supposed to be our hero.
I mean, he's a reluctant hero.
He's a reluctant hero, but
he's not, because at the beginning, he's not a hero.
True.
At the beginning, he's just trying to get by.
But he can be reluctant without like leaving a baby to die.
I don't know. I would leave it, but I'd be like, yo, I'm pushing this down. I didn't see shit. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see this baby. Because he knew.
Yeah.
He did know that they were going to come after this baby. And that if he brought the baby in,
But then maybe
that his whole shit was gonna be turned upside down.
But then maybe like it could have been handled a little bit less flippantly than he does, because he's like, don't touch it, you don't know where it's been. Let's leave it here.
Well, no, he's like, let's push it down the river.
Right.
He's like, I don't want to deal with this.
Right.
And you know what? He was right.
Yeah, well, he wasn't wrong. That's true.
I also had a problem with the world building and how it does. It's I have more of a problem with the system of magic that is involved in
Yes,
this movie.
I had an
It is-
issue with those acorns.
Yeah.
I mean, the acorn. Yeah,
I don't mind that. I
yeah.
felt like that
Well,
was...
the
I felt like it was
acorns
established
and
fine, and I was like, okay, I knew it was gonna come back.
the use of them.
What do you mean?
Well,
Because
it's
he's
like
got two.
no, he's got 3. He gives him 3, and this is a continuity error within the film.
Right.
Oh,
He gives him 3.
did I give him 2? Because he
So-
uses 2.
So
He
he
uses
uses
two.
2,
well,
he drops one,
drops
and then uses one.
and then uses one.
And what's funny is I also, when I was watching it, was like, oh yeah, 2 acorns, and he loses one of them, that's fine. But I did look in the trivia later, and they
Yeah.
did say there were 3, so it's like, I don't know how I missed the 3rd acorn in there, but apparently there were.
Yeah, it was like continuity error where he accidentally turns a boat to stone.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was like, they did not. They set the acorns up, and they're like, oh, I felt like these are gonna be really important. And then when they bring them back,
Yeah.
they were so useless, and they didn't do anything.
But I
I
actually
do
kind
like
of
that
I
he
did
screws one up.
I
like,
did
he
well. I
dropped-
like that he screws one up, but I also did like because I was like, oh, when he's like fighting the witch at the end or whatever, he's like, oh. He throws the thing, and I'm like, okay, she's gonna get turned into stone.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
I've
it
seen this,
doesn't
and
work.
it doesn't work. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah, and you can see her like
Yeah.
struggling against it, because at first she's like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah.
And then she struggles past it, and then like just has the dust, and I was like, "Well, that was actually pretty cool."
Yeah.
You know.
It was,
But that goes again. It goes actually again. The queen is actually really good. Bev Morda, whatever the hell her name was. Is
I don't
actually,
know how to pronounce any of these names.
Yeah. Willow? No.
Yeah, Willard.
Yeah. Willard. It did bother me that Mad Mardigan's full name is Mad Mardigan. It's not like Mad Space Mardigan.
Yeah.
It's Mad Mardigan. But anyway, the Queen's actually another really good example of like the tonal shifts and the problems with this movie. Is she's really brutal. She's played really well, and she feels dangerous and it's kind of scary. But then her big move against the army is just turning them into pigs.
Yeah.
And even though it's like a nightmarish scene, it just kind of feels like such a frivolous use of magic
Yeah.
for a bad guy.
Well, and then she when they go to that castle. There's like a bunch of people turned into stone or whatever, and there's like a cut scene where
Right.
the
But
girl
they're almost
finds
frozen.
her
They're
father.
not really in stone. They're like frozen,
Yeah.
right?
yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
There's like a scene that was cut where the girl finds her father, that like the queen's husband that she had turned to stone, and he's the one that convinces her to like turn on her mother.
Right.
What?
Right.
Yeah.
Was this the movie?
This
No,
is
it's
a
a
cut
cut
scene.
scene.
Oh,
Deleted scene.
well, why are we talking about it?
Well, I'm just saying, like, it kind of shows a little bit more how powerful that the witch is that they don't actually show. The only real big things that they show from the witch is turning the army to pigs, and then
Yeah. Well,
whatever magic she was doing to destroy the baby, which I have an issue with that also.
I mean,
Right.
just the whole system of magic is kind of just, it doesn't make sense. There is no system of magic.
No.
It's just like magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Magic, because, like, you know, it's inconsistent. And that bothered me probably the most out of this whole movie.
Yeah, the one point where it really bothered me was when he was doing the like spells to make the good witch. Like,
Back into human
yeah,
form or whatever.
the last time he did it, when he was like when she was doing all of the morphing,
Yeah.
he said this like one big spell before saying the like foreign language spell, and I was like, where was that the last 2 times?
Yeah. Well, I felt like that scene, a lot of this movie actually kind of felt like a special effects reel for ILM.
Oh, yeah.
Because the special effects, I think, are still pretty good.
No, I think the special effects are terrible.
There's some of the like green screen, blue screen stuff was very weird.
That stuff, a lot of it, yes, like with the brownies. But I
mean, I get it,
the
yeah.
dragon things that the trolls turned
the
Yeah.
into.
claymation stuff or whatever.
That I thought worked really well.
And the morphing stuff I thought was really good.
Yeah, and the morphing
which
stuff
was the first
good.
time ILM ever used was in this movie.
Yeah, and I remember it's famous for that.
Yeah.
Like, I remember that even when I was little. Like, this movie was a big deal, special effects wise.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, you know, in 1988, but, you know, I was not alive then. And so, like, I'm looking at it now in my, 2019 eyes, and I'm like, oh, this looks terrible.
It's so funny because I did think like of everything, the scene with the they're not dragons, but I guess they're sort of dragons. The things that came out of the trolls.
Which I
Yeah.
don't get. Because he like did a spell on
yeah, he
that
did
thing.
he did one. It's like I don't know if his spell turned it into one or it being in contact with the water turned it into one.
Yeah, I
like
don't
Gremlin
know.
style.
Well, it's like when he like made a spell and it like kind of inverted itself.
Yeah,
and
it
then
was really
two heads
weird.
shot up, and then
Yeah.
he kicked it into the water, and then it
Yeah.
grew. Like,
Yeah.
what is going on?
Yeah.
I did not
Yeah.
get how
I
that
did,
happened.
and it's funny because that whole scene I actually really liked. That was maybe my favorite sequence of the whole film. It was the tightest, I think, in terms of like pacing
Oh,
and
the
action.
whole like fight sequence
Yeah,
there. Yeah,
that was great, and I even loved like that. Here's Val Kilmer, Mad Mardigan, like setting up to essentially fight a one-man battle, and that was
Yeah.
kind of cool. And then when that big dragon thing like rears up out of the water and he runs away with everybody else, they're all just standing there. They all look at him. They're like, "Get him!" And then he like runs back. Like that was I
pretty
liked
good.
that.
That was
Like
good.
all of
Yeah.
that stuff was really good. And that's like this. That's like it's not goofy, but it's funny.
Yeah.
Versus the goofy shit of like him rolling downhill in a big snowball.
Yeah.
Where it's like that's the George Lucas thing is there's funny stuff that's genuinely good and clever and funny, and then there's the goofy stuff. And George Lucas I blame squarely for the goofy stuff. Because you look at like the Star Wars prequels like Jar Jar Binks is goofy. He's not Chewbacca. He's meant to be like a Chewbacca surrogate, and he's not. And there's actually I feel like there's a lot of Star Wars parallels with this film because Mad Mardigan's very Han Solo. Willow is very Luke Skywalker. Farm boy who wants more.
Yeah, I mean you're right in that. Although when I was like thinking, it reminded me a lot of just like this is what Lord of the Rings movie would have been if it was done in the 80s.
Yes.
You know what?
That's exactly what it felt
I
like.
have this. I have this note here. It says this is like what The Hobbit should have been because this felt like a Lord of the Rings for kids, and The Hobbit is a kid's story set in the Lord of the Rings universe.
Yeah, I remember. There's somewhere in my notes I have here. There's like basically films before Lord of the Rings and after Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is fantasy before Lord of the Rings.
It feels
For
like
sure.
George Lucas read all of the Lord of the Rings books
Yeah.
and took a bunch of different elements from that story because I can draw so many parallels also from Lord of the Rings into this.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like their homecoming scene, like when Willow comes home,
Yeah,
it felt a lot
yeah.
like the Hobbits coming back to Hobbits.
I was
Yeah.
like, that's exactly what I pictured.
And
in my
like
mind
even when all of the Nelwyn's and including Willow like set out for the first time for the
Yeah.
crossroads and they're like walking across that log
Yeah.
and that silhouette, I was like, that's fellowship.
That's
Well, and then they're in like this big like
Or the
thing,
Hobbit,
and they
really.
pull, they
Yeah.
get
when
pulled
they're at
into
the
a
gates,
fellowship.
and it's the
Yeah.
witch or the whatever. The good witch sorceress
Yeah.
and him, and it feels very much like Return of the King when they're at the gates.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
like, I'm like, damn, this is like
And it's like Val Kilmer's kind of like the Aragorn
A little
type
bit, yeah,
thing.
yeah, because
Although I will say the thing I did like about this movie the best, Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer was
Val
great.
Kilmer
Kilmer's
was so
great.
good.
He's
really good.
He was he's so much fun. It was funny. I don't know if you noticed, but when we first meet him in the crow cage, his teeth are all nasty, and then he's sort of dangerous, right? But
Yeah.
then like the next morning or whatever,
When he's like in the dress.
What's funny is that
before they let him out of the cage, but he's like cleaned his teeth, and for the rest of the movie, his teeth are clean. But the first time we meet him and he's kind of crazy, his teeth are filthy.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because so like again, I went into this movie like super just
Yeah.
and then I was watching it and I was like, wait a minute, is that Val Kilmer?
Yeah.
Like, I had no idea,
It
and then I
took
was
me
like,
forever to like.
and then I looked
was
it
like,
up and I was like, oh shit,
I was
Val
looking through
Kilmer's in this movie.
IMDb. I was like, wait, who is this guy? Because they hadn't said his name, and I was like, his face was so dirty, and he had that long black wig on. I was like, and I'm used to seeing Val Kilmer with like blonde hair.
Yeah.
Right.
Like blondish brown
Short,
hair.
yeah.
And I was like looking through IMDb, I'm like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
And then he says his name, and I like scroll up, I'm like, fuck!
Yeah,
That's-
he's so great, and he's got like all the best lines. You know,
He does.
Yeah.
He's the best part of the movie.
One of my I wrote my favorite lines. I don't love her. She kicked me in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like that bit. I'm saying he's the best part of this movie. He kind of what made me just like
He keeps
stay
you in the
interested.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he keeps
yeah.
you in the movie for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah. I will say though, this is the first time I've seen Warwick Davis in a large speaking role without wearing any kind of leprechaun or goblin
Prosthetics.
makeup.
Interesting. I'm fairly used to him. He was on oh god, it was the sequel to Idiot Abroad. Do you remember this show?
Yeah.
I think it was
I've
called...
heard it's a Ricky Gervais show, isn't it?
It is. And
I
I
never
cannot remember
watched
the name of it. He's playing himself. But I like, so I'm used to seeing him be himself. And let's see.
It's like he's also Ewok. He's also in like
Grip Hook and he's and Professor Flitwick.
Yeah, which he doesn't like. I mean, he's Flitwick, and he's like normal looking there, but
He's still got a lot.
Yeah, he's got, but he still looks more like himself than he does when he's like either version of Grip Hook throughout the entirety of Harry Potter, because he switches up between 1 and 7, and then Leprechaun, because he's not recognizable as Leprechaun.
Right. No, yeah, he's got a lot of prosthetics on.
But I think those Star Wars, what else has he been in that I probably have seen him in?
Well, he did not have a speaking role in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but he was Marvin, the clinically depressed robot.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
Oh, God, that's funny.
And he's great in that.
He is. Well, I mean, it's just his motions, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's Alan Rickman.
Mm-hmm. Which is also great.
Oh, so good. I fucking love that.
But back to this movie.
Yes.
You know what else I thought was kind of funny, and because one of the things about, I think, Lord of the Rings that it's done so well is the world building, is the production design. It has a certain look, and the people of Rohan, the people of Gondor, the people of the Shire, they all have their look. They have they all look like they come from the same place.
Yeah.
And this movie has this weird pastiche of, there's like some Middle Ages stuff, but there's also some straight up Mongolian stuff. Evil Queen Junior woman is dressed like a Mongol warrior, and she's sleeping in a yurt. And so it's like, that's interesting.
Yeah, and it goes from like snowy mountain to like kind of like not really like it's a very different climate changes.
Yeah. It does that. Yeah, it does. That's right, because they get to that town that seems like nobody could possibly live there.
Yeah.
On the mountainside, but we don't really see them climb the mountain.
Yeah, it feels like everything is very close together.
Yeah.
But they make it seem in the movie more spread out than it is. So it just feels like you need a map. Like, I want to see a map of this place.
No, it just feels like I don't know, everything just feels like it's a movie. Like, it's not like we keep coming back to Lord of the Rings, but I mean, I think Lord of the Rings is like the pinnacle of fantasy.
It is,
fantasy movies.
Cinema as well as in literature.
I mean, true. I mean, I never read the books, but in cinema, like that feels like a fucking place, whereas this doesn't.
No,
like this feels like, oh, you guys built these little hut things on the side of this mountain or whatever. Yeah. This castle is like a thing, It's like it all feels like props.
Yeah, it
all feels like props.
Yeah,
and I mean, obviously, this didn't have a budget that like Lord of the Rings didn't,
nor did it have access to the technology. Yeah.
But it's coming from that, like you said, there's in fantasies especially there's pre Lord of the Rings and post Lord of the Rings, and everything kind of is compared to that. And so I was like, oh, kind of took me out of the movie because I'm like, oh, these are like little props and sets and stuff like that.
I just, what took me out of the movie was, like, because you brought up the castles, like the castles looked like middle-aged castles, not fantasy castles. You know what I mean? Like, and it wasn't even like it was trying to be what do you call it? Game of Thrones, where that's got its own look and feels kind of like 1060s. Well, not 1066. I mean, it's based on War of the Roses, but it has its own look. The castles all look like they were built with similar, if not design aesthetics, at least similar architectural technology. And this just kind of felt like it was all over the place.
Yeah,
in terms of that.
The castle, like, when the guy with the skull mask thing is like riding into the castle when he gets the baby, and they like start drawing the drawbridge up and they like show the castle, it reminded me of the castle from Monty Python.
Oddly enough, it reminded me of the castle from Army of Darkness.
I mean, yeah, I can see that. They have a lot. I mean, because I can see that for sure.
But speaking of General Skullface, I wanted him to be. I thought he was going to be like the badass scary guy that we were going to have to deal with until we got to the badass evil queen. Yeah. And I kept thinking like, oh yeah, this guy's going to be cool. He's kind of the Darth Vader of this movie, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted him to be more of a badass than he was. He ended up just kind of being this lumbering oaf. Like, he wasn't scary. Like, there was, I was...
Like, the scariest thing about him was that mask.
Yeah. And it's exactly right. It's kind of, in a lot of ways, it kind of reminded me of... a lot of people's complaints about Boba Fett not being as cool as everybody thinks he is, because the only thing he ever did was he doesn't do anything. He got knocked into Sarlacc pit.
Yeah.
That's basically all he did.
Yeah.
He just looks
But
cool.
he looks cool.
But he looks cool, and I feel like that's what this guy's deal is, too.
Well, you know who wrote both of those movies?
Sort
or
of.
came up with the concepts for.
But yeah, this
Willow.
movie, Willow.
But there is one, like, there's, like, I have an issue with the prophecy and the way it's, like,
I did too.
the baby.
story doesn't make sense.
Yes. Okay. So they have a prophecy that the baby is going to like overthrow the queen.
Yep.
And this was like I only thought about this after I was reading through the facts. And there's like when you scroll down to the bottom, it says according to the prophecy, Elora Danan would bring about the Queen Bavmorda's downfall. And that's the only fun fact. I'm like, okay, cool. They talk about that at the beginning of the movie, but I was thinking about it, I'm like that doesn't happen.
No.
Willow is the one who brings the queen's downfall.
I mean, I guess in the loosest possible terms,
she does because she brings all these people there.
Exactly. But I had the same problem.
But I was like, oh, it's gonna be like Willow's going to be taking care of her, and she's going to be growing up, and then she's going to become this like powerful, maybe wizard type thing that's going to destroy her. That's what I was thinking as I was watching this.
Yeah.
Like, or as I like heard that prophecy at the beginning, and then I kind of like read this little synopsis on IMDb that was like, dwarf is entrusted to take care of. A reluctant dwarf must play a critical role in protecting a special baby from an evil queen. So I read that and I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So he's going to like protect her, help her grow up, to help her to defeat this queen.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
None of that. And I'm like, that's the whole point of this movie?
Yeah, well, like, what was the point of the baby?
Yeah.
I fully agree. I was annoyed about that too, and I'll see you one more. Is at the end the queen, like, nobody actually like dispatches her. She kind of like knocks over some of her own shit and then gets struck by lightning.
Well, because she has that wand too.
Yeah, but it was just like, I hate it when there's a villain that nobody actually takes down.
Yeah.
It's like, what was the point of any of this?
Well, I mean, I guess Willow like tricks her, right?
Which
and
I do love that scene.
Yeah.
Well, just like, that's really cool. It's a great payoff with the pig. And I remembered that. It's funny because even though I said I'd never sat and I didn't recall sitting and watching this film, I remembered most of it. And I remembered the pig thing.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was so cool that his sort of not lame trick, but his essentially stage magician trick, like, gets her, and she's like, what magic is this? And it's like, that's so good. I actually really liked that.
The setup of that was
Yeah.
probably the best, like, of all of the different things that they set up at the beginning of this film.
Yeah.
That's probably
It was the most well done.
Yeah, it's the only thing that paid off really well.
It's a great payoff. And there's, it's funny because there's so many other like interesting ideas in the movie. I like the idea of this like good sorceress that they're supposed to bring back, and she's like, I'm a beautiful young woman, and then she comes back, she's like, I'm old, I've been an animal for this long, and I thought that was kind of cool. There's a lot of like subverted expectations, but it all doesn't add up to a good movie.
Yeah,
it's also too long.
Oh my god, it's
2
way
hours.
too long.
It's 2 hours and 6 minutes, something like that.
Yeah,
it needed to be an hour and a half. I think.
Like, High Aldwin, that wizard guy, I'm like, he's just a bullshit character.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I like the fact that they kind of like subtly play up the fact that he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about or doing.
Oh, with the bones?
No, with everything he's doing. Like, he throws that egg up in the air or whatever it was, and it's a bird, and he's like, follow the bird.
He's like, don't follow the bird.
And it goes back, yeah.
It's funny, that's Billy Barty, who I know from, oh God, what was his name? Gwendol? No. Oh man, I just had it too. He was in Masters of the Universe.
We don't know that. We know He-Man.
Yeah.
And
he's
Skeletor.
He's
and that's it.
Character in that movie.
Cool.
So there you go.
Cool.
Did you also notice Kenny Baker in The Village?
No.
Yeah, he was in there. He's like a member of the band.
Interesting. I don't know who Kenny Baker is.
He's the guy inside of R2-D2.
Oh yeah, that's a fact on here. I remember seeing that. There are a couple other people in here that you got. I don't know. You may have noticed. Tony Cox.
I did see that. Yeah. He
plays in Bad Santa.
He's Bad Santa. He's like his sidekick.
It's like
Oh,
elf.
that guy. Yeah.
I don't know him from Bad Santa. The only reason I know he's from Bad Santa is, and you guys are you especially are gonna
warriors. Yeah.
You especially are gonna make fun of me for this. Is he was in a Christmas episode of Psych where they parody It's a Wonderful Life, and his character, like, he kind of like is played up as the character from Bad Santa. Like, he's like, oh my god, Tony Cox, Bad Santa. And he's like when he first appears to Sean, he's like in the elf costume, and
okay, I get it. So,
and then he appears as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in like Lakers gear with the goggles on and stuff.
That's hilarious.
It's a good episode. I recommend if you.
No, I'm not gonna watch it.
Episode.
No.
But somebody else who's from another show that would have made my list of influential shows is Phil Fondacaro. He plays one of the warriors. He plays Von Carr. He is Roland in a couple of the early episodes of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. He plays this like guy, like not in Rapunzel, but he's kind of like he's the dwarf that steals Rapunzel, and he like Roland tries to steal Sabrina to like make her marry him. And there's a Rapunzel moment in one of the episodes, and Harvey has to come save Sabrina. But yeah, I was like, when I saw him, I was like, oh my god, he's from Sabrina! I was so excited. I love Sabrina also.
Yes, you do. Any of the classic TGIF lineup.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, makes sense.
Did you happen to count no less than 3 Wilhelm Screams in the movie?
Oh my god! I almost made a note of that. I was like, why are there's more Wilhelm Screams in this than
usually there's just the one, and it's like a fun Easter egg, and so I was like, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
And then it happened again, and I was like, and then there was a third one. I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, and they're all within the same like
they're in like the last section
minutes.
of the movie. Yeah.
It's like during that battle, and it's like always it's somebody falling off a horse.
Yeah, it is. It's true. Yeah.
I'm like, you're not gonna Wilhelm Scream for that short of a fall. Like, I think in Lord of the Rings, the Wilhelm Scream is in Return of the King, and it's when somebody's falling off a cliff or something.
And it's pretty well buried in there, too.
Yeah, you have to sit there and watch for it.
Yeah, just like you have to sit and listen for one of the orcs to yell, or it's not one of the orcs, it's one of the Urukai that actually yells Cowabunga.
No.
Yes, it's in
that.
there.
Are you sure that's not an extended?
It might be extended because that's the only Lord of the Rings that I watch.
Yeah, because I haven't seen the extended, and I've seen every inch of the regular version.
It's in there.
Multiple times.
It's on when I think it's in it's at the Battle of Helm's Deep in Two Towers, and he's on the ladder, and it goes like this back into the it's one of the siege ladders. It gets pushed away from the wall, and you hear the guy actually go Cowabunga.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have to watch that when I get home tonight.
Or maybe like even find like just a clip online.
Yeah,
somebody.
Well, because that's a scene I've seen.
Yeah,
like that's in the regular cut.
It's in there, and like I hadn't heard it, and then she's like, "You've heard the guy that says Cowabunga, right?" And I was like, "What?"
It's not in the subtitles.
I don't know. I didn't turn the subtitles on. I just listened for it. It was there. It was pretty clearly Cowabunga. It's as clear as in Return of the Jedi when the Ewoks have everybody and they've got they're sticking the spears in everybody's faces, and then Han Solo goes, "Hey, point that thing someplace else," and he pushes it away, and then the Ewoks look at each other and and then they turn back around and they go, "Eat it."
Yeah, so I have. Is this everybody's thoughts? Because I have some really fun facts.
Yeah. I mean, let me just run through really quickly. I was wondering about all the women that were kept prisoner. Like as long as like once they crap out their baby and it's not like the prophesied baby, do they get? Are they cool? Like, did they get to go?
I don't know if that mom of like the baby in this got killed. I think they kill all of them.
Yeah, so like I was wondering about that. I was wondering about. They kept saying that Laura Dannon was like a princess. Was like, does that mean that they had imprisoned a queen in there?
Yeah,
like I was confused.
But she
about
wasn't
that.
dressed like a queen,
right? And then but I mean, when you're a prisoner, you don't have many options. I did think it was kind of interesting that there was like a Jesus/Superman thing with this baby getting in the river, sort of, and like picked up by a stranger. And I did think the baby was a very good actor. Like,
oh my god, there's like this face when Val Kilmer says he'll take the baby, it goes back and the baby does this like weird eye raise like look, huh? And I'm like, how do they get a damn baby to do that?
Yeah, that baby was a good actor.
But they did have like a 30-pound baby that they used for a lot of the action sequences.
Yeah, like a robotic baby.
Yeah.
I did read about that. let's see. I did think this is gonna be like a bit of an asshole comment, but I sort of felt bad for how much of a struggle it looked like for Warwick Davis to get around.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it because, like, once again, fantasy movies before Lord of the Rings versus after.
Mm-hmm.
You know, after Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson was like, all right, so basically we can just have regular height people being people of short stature. We don't need to employ them anymore.
Yeah.
And I mean, and then the Snow White and the Huntsman movie, they did exactly that. They had average height people playing little people, and so I thought that was kind of interesting that this is, you know, because I think I read somewhere there was like
225 to 240.
Which is probably one of the biggest casts
it
of
is.
little people.
According to Warwick
ever.
Davis, the film had the largest ever casting call for little people. Between 227 and 240 actors were hired.
Right.
Wow.
So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And let's see.
I have one other thing about the effects.
Yeah.
It's like the pig transformation. Whenever the camera's on Val Kilmer, his transformation into a pig, it's like very subtly morphing.
Yeah.
And like the way they morph the prosthetics, I'm just like, oh my god, that's so cool.
They did a good job with that.
Yeah, that was probably like my favorite use of, like, besides the transforming of the witch through the different animal cycles.
Yeah.
That was probably my favorite effect.
For me, even though it was like a dumb thing story-wise, I appreciated how they executed it, you know?
It was, I mean, because, it was good.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it. I did think that the song that the band plays in the village, it's also at the very end of the movie, sounded a hell of a lot like "You Can Call Me Al" by Paul Simon. No?
Nope.
You're old, man.
Ugh. All right, Amy, you got some facts.
Yes.
Take it away, Amy.
So, how old do you think, without looking it up?
I already read it, so I know.
Oh, okay. Johnny, how old do you think Warwick Davis was?
15.
You were very close.
Yeah.
He was 17
Oh, wow.
when he filmed this, which I didn't even think.
I thought he was older.
I did too. I thought he was like maybe 27.
Yeah, uh-huh.
But I don't know how old Warwick Davis is, like, right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was super young
Yeah,
in Return of the Jedi. Like, he was a little
Oh,
kid.
yeah, well, he was a kid.
And this part was actually written by George Lucas for Warwick Davis after meeting him on the set of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
I didn't know. That's cool.
Yeah.
Because, and this goes kind of with your comment on, like, Warwick Davis not being able to walk around or, like, move. The baby throwing up, like, being sick, that was not supposed to be in the script. It's because Warwick Davis walked with a limp, it made the baby motion sick. So when she was lifted up, she vomited on that guy.
For real.
And for real.
Yeah.
What?
And then they brought it back with the bird.
Yeah. Which is funny because that was actually one of those jokes that I was like, stupid George Lucas.
Yeah.
You know, like, it was actually one of the jokes that didn't work for me. Even though
I thought I was like, that's freaking gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, it's a dumb fart. It's like the fart joke kind of thing.
Yeah, very much so.
It's stupid.
Fart jokes are always funny, okay? I don't know what you're talking about.
But speaking of, like, ad-libbing things, Val Kilmer's lines, most of them were ad-libbed.
I'm not surprised.
No, but they're so good.
They're so good. He owned that character. And like you said, he brought you, like, he kept you in the movie.
He kept you interested in the movie because you're like, I want to see what this guy does next. Because it was all good. It was all good.
It was. And I do love that there's this sense of, like, is this guy bullshitting or is he actually a really great warrior? And then he actually was. He was a pretty legit warrior.
Yeah. I love, like, every time he picked up a sword, he had to do that, like,
Yeah.
ninja, like, flip.
Yeah. I do have some, I don't know if it's, like, necessarily a fun fact.
I do have one more before you
yeah.
because I think you might have the fun, like, one of the fun facts that I have on this list is the pigs. It's going with the pigs.
Oh.
The large group of pigs outside the castle continuously tried mating, and buckets of cold water were used to separate them.
That's
I just thought that was kind of funny.
Can you imagine, like, the PA is like, all right, I gotta go dump more water on these mating pigs.
On these horny ass pigs.
Should just let them get it out of their system.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to keep going, though.
Making bacon. All right.
Oh!
Making
That's probably how they got those two little pigs that played the brownies.
Yeah. So, one of the things that I noticed, like, when the movie was started was that it was DP'd by Adrian Biddle, who maybe sounds familiar, and if not, some of the films on his like list of credits.
Give me those because those might be more familiar.
Aliens.
Oh.
Princess Bride.
Oh, that's why it's got the Princess Bride filled.
And he actually did Princess Bride right before Willow. Like
Really?
those are back to back on his filmography.
I think that's why it has the Princess Bride feel, even though none of this felt the
Yeah.
look of it felt Princess Bride, but the tone of it, none of it felt Princess Bride.
Right. And Princess Bride is something very special.
God, Princess Bride is
He also did Thelma and Louise. He did City Slickers 2, which is weird. He did Judge Dredd, the Stallone one. He did 101 Dalmatians, the Glenn Close live action
which
one.
is on the list.
Yeah.
Because it's got Arthur Weasley in it.
He did Event Horizon. He did The Mummy.
Oh,
So we've actually already talked about one of his
recycled a
films.
DP.
Yeah. He did The World Is Not Enough, the
Pierce Brosnan.
James Bond film, yeah. He did The Mummy Returns as well, 102 Dalmatians. He did Reign of Fire, that dragon
Christian
movie
Bale
with
movie.
Christian Bale and Matthew McConaughey. He did Shanghai Nights. He did Bridget Jones, Edge of Reason.
Jones?
Yeah. And then the last thing he did was V for Vendetta. He died shortly after that film.
Huh, interesting.
But yeah, so he's done a lot of really great stuff.
And this isn't one of them.
No.
No.
But iconic all the same.
That's true. Yeah.
I do have one more interesting fun fact before I go into the only recasting that I have.
Okay.
And I feel like you guys will both appreciate this. So during off hours from shooting, Kevin Pollak and Rick Overton, who played the Brownies, hit up a bar in San Rafael where they ended up performing improv. One of the audience members noticed and proceeded to get up on stage and participate. Can you guess who that performer was?
I can, because I read it.
Can you guess?
James Brown.
No.
I'll give you a hint. You ain't never had a friend like him.
James Brown. No, Robin Williams.
Yeah. So Pollak, who was already a fan of Williams.
Pollock.
Pollak?
Not Polak.
No, you don't want to say Pollak.
That's racist.
It's pretty bad.
Okay. Well, that's how I'm reading it off of
Apologies,
here.
listener.
Said he ended up stepping back just to watch Williams perform. And I'm like, I wanted to be there.
Kevin Pollak's really great. If you've ever seen him in anything else, he's always
fucking
hilarious.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And he is an exceptionally gifted impressionist.
Yeah, he's really good.
He is so good.
So good.
Just if you watch
I've seen him do he's done stuff on talk shows.
Yeah, and really subtle stuff. He does an amazing Christopher Lloyd. You know, he's really good.
Spot on. He's great in
and he's great in Usual Suspects. He's great in everything. Not in this. Hated him in this. I did love the reveal of him being bald at the end, but that was it. Everything else was worthless.
So, recasting
Uh-huh.
for Mad Barnigan. Mm-hmm. John Cusack tested, and he says that he considers this his biggest disappointment for losing it to Val Kilmer.
I don't think anybody could have done it but Val Kilmer.
No.
Not done it as well.
Because Cusack is great, but he doesn't have the energy, the
No.
bonkers craziness that Val Kilmer brings.
Anytime I see John Cusack, I just see his character from Say Anything.
Oh, really?
Just this
Really?
The first thing that always comes to my mind is Grosse Point Blank. Did you ever see that film?
No, but I really want to. It's been on my list to watch
really good.
forever.
It's really good, and there's a bit where 'cause he's the premise.
Yeah, kind of.
And he's going back to he's a hitman who goes back to his high school reunion, and so people are he's worried about he's talking to his therapist, and he's everybody's like, hey, how are you? What am I gonna say? I killed the president of Paraguay with a fork. How have you been? It's just he's so good in that movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's no High Fidelity, but
That's true. It is not High Fidelity. It's Grosse Point Blank.
It is. It's a different movie.
Totally. Almost
yeah,
completely
I know.
different movie.
Different.
100%
In case you were
different even.
confused.
Okay.
And not how confused you get sometimes.
Yeah. So let's take a vote.
All right.
Does it hold up?
No! I'm going to say no. One is I don't have childhood memories of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But two, even if I did, I don't think I would have liked it. I don't know. I don't
Okay.
know.
I have a totally different opinion on that.
What's your opinion?
I think, yes, it does hold up because this is definitely, if I had known about this movie when I was younger, it's definitely a movie I would have watched.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I think back to my childhood self, and I'm like, would I have liked this movie?
Yeah.
And I think the answer is no. I don't think I would
Yeah,
have liked
I
it.
would have because, I'm all about that fantasy life.
I love fantasy stuff, but I don't know. I would not. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
it
think
feels
I
like
would-
budget fantasy to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have been all. I would have been all over this.
Yeah. Like a cheap suit.
Yep,
And
we
a
love
paper
cheap
snowstorm.
suits.
a cheap pinstripe suit.
Yeah. It's funny for me. I always had trouble connecting to this movie when I was little, despite the fact that it was always sort of on, and I never knew why I never got it. Now I do. It's like
because of George Lucas.
Yes. I think some of the special effects are still really good. I think there's some great things in it. James Horner's score is great. But I'm gonna have to say no. It does not hold up. It is something that I always had trouble with and still do.
Yeah. And my saying yes, it holds up is no reflection on how good or bad this is, because it's not good.
No.
But it's just something that I think
it was all
it
hype,
gives me a nostalgia feeling watching it.
Yeah.
So I didn't get that at all.
Yeah, it's all hype for me. Like it's a movie that
I can definitely see that. I can see your guys' side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
All right. Well, that was Willow.
Yeah. Woo. Thank you to Robert and Vanessa for suggesting this.
Yeah, thanks.
If you guys want to suggest any movies for us, you can get them to us on Twitter or Instagram at Nostalgitis, Nostalgitis.
Also email, right, Amy?
Yes. What's the email? Do either of you know?
It's at Gmail.
It's a Gmail account. We know that much.
It's nostalgiaeffectpod@gmail.com.
That's what it is.
Which
that
we
was
actually,
a test for you.
Yeah, we actually have a suggestion from from email that will be coming up soon.
Oh, that's right. I think
the fans are clamoring for it.
Yes.
They're going wild.
But thank you guys. Be sure to rate and review us on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast. And something we don't usually say, but I think we should start saying it, share it with your friends.
Oh, yeah.
No, share it with your enemies.
Share it with everybody. Share it with your dog.
Share it with your friends and enemies.
Dogs can't listen to podcasts.
I don't know. Luna listens to podcasts all the time.
She's not a dog.
Well,
oh, in your face! Oh, you should see her face
share
right now,
with your
people.
cats too. God.
Oh, she forgot her
share
cat
it
wasn't
with
a
your
cat.
goldfish.
Separate but equal my ass.
Boy, your face right now.
Oh, it's red.
She's got
Boy,
egg
is my
all
face
over it.
red.
Boy.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody.
Don't forget
Thanks.
to be kind and rewind.
And remember that cats aren't dogs.